All right, so the first problem. It says, well, first of all, this is all about like banking and investing, earning sales on a commission, sales tax, tipping at a restaurant, all those kind of percentages. So this first one says Mr. Jones, he earns $26,000 up front, okay? So his salary, he gets 26 grand. Even if he doesn't make any sales, he gets 26,000. But then he makes 5% off of his sales for the year. So in this one, you could see that his sales were $300,000. So he's going to make 5% of that. All right, plus the 26,000 that he's guaranteed up front. So how do we find 5% of 300,000? We need 5% of 300,000. So how could you do that? Yeah.
It's like the first bottom one.
Well, first of all, you got to change it. All these problems today, you got to change the percent back into a decimal. So what is 5% as a decimal? Yeah.
0.05.
Yeah, so you got to move. Right now, that decimal point is actually right here. Let me zoom in on this for you guys. Right now, the decimal point is actually right here, right? And you want to move it 2 places to the left. That'll change it from a percent back to a decimal. So 5%, that is actually, as a decimal, that's 0.05. All right? Well, then we just want to take 5% of this number right here. So you just multiply it. Just multiply it by 0.05. All right, so we're going to do 0.05 times the 300,000. And then we're just going to add on the 26,000 that he earns no matter what. Come on. And then you just put that in your calculator. That's it. Just remember, every single problem in this section, though, you got to change the percent back into a decimal. So if you do the 0.05 times the 300,000,
I'm sorry, 150,000. Or no, it is 50,000.
yeah, that's 15,000. Well, yeah, this part right here. You guys, that part right there is 15,000. That's 5%. That's his commission. That's 5% of the 300,000. But then you got to add on his base salary. So what's that then?
41,000.
All right, so it's 41,000. You guys good with that one?
Yes.
All right, next one. The next one deals with this formula right here, this I equals PRT. And you use this one when you're either going to like invest your money or when you're going to borrow money. Either way. And then let me label what these things are for you here. So the I here, that is your interest. And you either pay the interest if you borrow money, or you earn the interest if you invest money. And then the P is the principal. That's either the amount you borrowed or the amount you invested. And then the R is the rate. But again, we want it as a decimal. And then the T is the time. But that's got to be in years. Okay, so again, the interest is the amount that you pay or earn. The principal is how much you borrowed or how much you invested. The rate is the percentage, but you got to have it as a decimal. And then the time, or the T, is the time, but it's got to be in years. So let's look at number 2 there. It says find the interest. Here, let's do it this way. Let's label all the stuff. Well, it says find the interest. Well, if it says that right there, then that's the thing you're looking for. So basically, this formula has 4 variables in it. They're going to give you 3 of them, and then you're going to find the missing one. So let's see what else we got here. The time is 3 years. So the T is 3. And then the principal, that's the amount you start with. So the principal is the 2,500. So that's the P. And then the rate is the percentage rate. Well, we need it as a decimal. So what's 11.5% as a decimal?
0.115.
Yeah. Yeah, so same thing as the last problem. You have to move this decimal point right here. You have to move that 2 places to the left. So it's 0.115. And then you just plug those into the formula and just put it in the calculator. That's it. So we're going to do the interest is equal to the principal. Well, that's how much you borrowed. Times the rate. So that's times the percentage as a decimal. And then times the number of years. And you can just put that in the calculator. And again, you can multiply in any order you want, right? Like 3 times 4 times 5, that's the same thing as 5 times 3 times 4. So if you do the 2,500 times 3, that'll give you 7,500, right? My calculator keeps turning off here. So I'll do the 2,500 times 3. That'll give you 7,500, and then times the 0.115. I get 800. Now these answers are going to be in dollars and cents, okay? The interest is in dollars and cents. So it's going to be 862.5, so that's $862.50. So 862.5. And these are good things to know how to figure out, okay? So if you borrow $2,500 and you borrow it for 3 years at an interest rate of 11.5%, you're going to have to pay back an extra $862.50. All right? That's why if you borrow money, the quicker you can pay it off, the better, right? Because if you're going to let this go for 3 years, that's a lot of interest, $862.50 when you only borrowed $2,500 to start. You guys good with that one? Okay. Same thing on the next one. Same formula again. The I equals PRT. So let's do that one. So maybe you guys can help me here. So what is, let's see, what do we got? Well, first of all, it says find the rate. Do you see that at the end of it? So on number 3, it says find the interest rate. Well, that means the rate is going to be the question mark here. All right, and then it says, what was the 5,000? What do you guys think that was? You got 4 variables there. One is the interest, one is the rate, one is the principal, and one is the time. Yeah, the principal. So this time, instead of borrowing money, you're investing it, okay? So the amount that you invested, that's the principal. So in this one, it's 5,000. All right, and then what's the I then?
45.
Yeah, 45. That's how much interest he earned. So that's the $45. And now the only thing is the time here. It has to be in years, or the formula doesn't work. So it's 6 months. So how much of a year is that? Yeah, it's half a year. Good. That's 0.5. Okay, so let's plug those in the formula. So I'll write the formula here again so you can see what I'm doing. So again, it's I equals PRT. Yeah, you could have used 1/2. Okay, so plug the numbers in there. So maybe I'll put it below it. Let me put it over here. Like that. Okay, so the interest, that was the 45, right? So you're plugging that in right there. And then the principal, that's the 5,000. So you're plugging that in right there. The rate is that's what you're trying to find, right? So again, what they're going to do on these problems is they're going to give you 3 of these variables and you're going to solve for the missing 4th one. So in this case, the one that's missing is the rate. So you're missing the rate, and then times the time here is 0.5. You guys see what I did? So again, that 0.5, that is the number of years right there. And then we can multiply in any order we want, okay? So let's come over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these two together first. I'm going to do like these two. Because I can do 5,000 times R times 0.5 is the same thing as 0.5 times 5,000 times R. You can multiply in any order you want. So if I multiply those two together, first, what's 5,000 times 1/2?
2,500.
Yeah, it's 2,500. So now we get an equation that this looks like we got 45. So 45 equals 2,500 times R. Now, how do you get the R all by itself?
Divide.
Yep. Yeah, good. Divide both sides by 2,500. And then these will cancel out, and you'll get R equals. And then you're going to need your calculator again. So 45 divided by 2,500. 0.018. But now you're going to need to report that back as a percentage, though. Oh, did I miss? Yeah, I missed one. Hold on. That's supposed to be 0.018. So 0.018. But again, that says a decimal. We want it as a percent. So what would that be? So we got to go the other way. We've been changing from the percent to the decimal. Now we got to go back from the decimal to the percent. Yeah.
1.8%.
Yeah, good. That's good to me. Yeah. So to go backwards here, you guys, we've been converting from the percent to the decimal. So to change from the decimal back to the percent, you got to move this decimal point 2 places to the right. So it would be, what am I doing here? It would be 1.8%. And since it's a percent, we'll put the percent symbol on there. All right, that's not a very high interest rate. So if you had $5,000 and you invested it at 1.1, I can't talk. If you had $5,000 and you invested it at an interest rate of 1.8%, after half a year, you would have earned $45 in interest. All right, then the last part of it is like just estimating sales tax and estimating tip, like if you're at a restaurant. So they want us to try to do some mental math with some percents here. So let me see if I can get this. So if you had a bill that was like, I don't know. Let's say you had a bill at a restaurant of $32.58. How do you find 10% of that? Anybody know? Yeah.
Move the decimal one to the left.
Yeah. You just move the decimal point one to the left. So if you wanted so if your bill was $32.58, all you got to do to change that, to find 10% of that number, is just move that decimal one place to the left. And so if you did that, then you'd have 3, 2, well, I'd want to round it off like right here. So since this number right here is 5 or larger, I'm going to round that 5 up to a 6. So it would be $3.26. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, so if you want 10% of the bill, just move the decimal one place to the left. So that's what we got to write in on the blank there. So we'll just put move. So we're going to move the decimal, or move the decimal point one to the left. Well, then what if you wanted, let's see, this was the original amount, so this was what, 10% right here? So this was 10%. If you wanted 1%, what would you do?
Move the decimal 2 places to the left.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was 10%. So if you want 1%, you would just move that decimal 2 places to the left. So you'd move it again. So if you moved it there, then you'd want to round it off right here, right? So since this digit right here is a 6, that's 5 or larger, so that 2 right here would round up to a 3. So 1%, so 1% would be 33 cents. I can't write. All right. So if you had a bill of $32.58, 10% would be $3.26. 1% would be just 33 cents. So if you want 1% of the bill, we're going to fill this in. We're just going to say move the decimal So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. All right. Is that it for that page?
Yeah.
I think that's it. So flip it over. I thought there was one more thing. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, up at the top here it says you want to find 5% of the bill. Well, if you want 5% of the bill, if I look back real quick, you guys don't have to do that, but if this was 10% of the bill right here, you could just take half of that to get 5%, right? So if you had $3.26 is 10% of the bill, what's 5% then? What's half of 326?
$1.60.
yeah, I gotta think about that for a second. So you'd have what? So you'd have 150 and, yeah. Yeah, $1.63. Yeah, so 5%, let me write that on this page. So 5%. That would just be the $3.26 divided by 2, right? All right. So if you want 5%, just find, so if you want 10%, move the decimal one place to the left. If you want 5%, just take your 10% number and divide it by 2. All right, so that's what we got to put in on that next blank. So 5% of the bill is just 10% of the bill divided by 2. So I'll write 10% divided by 2. All right, let's see if we can do these last couple then. So we want to leave a 15% tip at Texas Roadhouse here, okay? So let's find 10%. So what would 10% be? Just move the decimal one place to the left. Take this decimal right here, move it 1 to the left. And again, we're going to round off right here then, right? So it's that last digit there is a 5 or larger. We're going to need to round this up to a 9. So you guys tell me, what's it going to be? What's that? $2.79. Perfect, thank you. So it's $2.79. Well, just to make this easy, again, we're supposed to be doing mental math here. Let's say that's just approximately $2.80, right? Well, then what's 5%? Just take that 10% amount and cut it. Yeah. Yeah, so all you're going to do is just take this number right here and divide it by 2. If that's 10% and you want 5%, just divide the $2.80 by 2, which would be $1.40.
Yeah.
And then just add those together and you got 15%, right? So your 15% is going to be $2.80 plus your $1.40. So what's that?
$4.20.
There you go. So that's your answer. All right, last one. So this last one, well, sales tax in Michigan is 6%, right? Well, I don't know where this is at, but they're saying that the sales tax is 7.25%. Excuse me. So we got to find 7.25% of a book that costs $19.97. So let's see what way could we make this easier. Well, I don't want to figure out 0.25% in my head, so let's do 7.5%. We're just approximating. So we're going to let this be 7.5%. And then let's approximate the cost of the book also. Let's make that $20. All right. Well, what would 10% of $20 be?
$2.
Yeah. Again, yeah, if you want to change this, the cost of that book, if you want to get 10% of it, all you got to do is move that decimal one place to the left. So that would just be $2. So 10%, 10% would be $2. Well, can you see that 7.5% would be 3/4 of that number? Does that make sense to you guys? Like if you do 2.5% plus 2.5% plus 2.5% plus 2.5%, that would be 10%, right? So if you want 7.5%, that would just be 2.5% plus 2.5% plus 2.5%. So it's really 3/4 of 10%. So hopefully that makes sense. So all you got to do is take the $2 and just multiply it by 3/4. That would give you your 7.5%. Well, that's just 2 times 3 divided by 4, right? So 2 times 3, that is 6. 6 divided by 4, what's that? Or you got $2 in your pocket and you're going to give me 3/4 of it. How much is that?
Was $1.50 or $1.75?
That's $1.50.
Yeah.
All right, you got $2. You're going to give me 3/4 of it. You're going to give me $1.50. So it's $1.50. And again, if you just did the math, if you just did, again, we're just going to make this like, I don't know, what should we do? Just make this 2/1. Well, you guys know how to multiply fractions, right? Just multiply straight across the top. 2 times 3, or you could cross cancel this thing too, couldn't you? Well, just multiply straight across. So 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. So you'd have 6 divided by 4. Well, that'd be 1.5.